Welcome, this is Dana with Flowers by Design, and today I want to show you how to make this really nice spring arrangement in a clay pot using daffodils and irises, tulips, and some budding clover. Extremely easy to make. Let me show you how. So for this spring project, I'm going to use a clay pot, and I wanted to show you a couple of different sizes of clay pots. This is called a rose clay pot, and it's kind of long, and a standard clay pot, the one that we all know. And here is, I think my favorite of the clay pots, the azalea clay pot, which is a little bit wider and a little bit squattier. Also, I will use a budding spray, some tulips in the form of a bush. This is a very interesting piece of silk flower. It's actually a budding clover and grass bush. A couple of daffodils, one in a bud form and an open one, and also a couple of irises. And as far as the mechanics, I will use foam and a putty knife to cut it, moss, which actually comes in a mat and it's woven. It's fantastic. It's also dyed, and pliers, cutting pliers, and a pair of scissors to cut the moss. So let's get to work. Here's my azalea clay pot, and I forgot the glue gun, the low temp glue gun. To foam the moss and moss the container, I cut a square off, and I will glue the edges. Okay. And just push in. Fantastic. Next, cut a piece of the Spanish moss mat, which comes in a 4-foot length, 4 by 12, and it's just great. Perfect. It's done. Push it in. Okay, then I'm going to start with the, I'll bring this up a little bit here. I'm going to start with the clover bush. And of course, everything before it gets planted in needs to be fluffed. And I am going to fluff this little bush. And actually, it's made up of different wires that have been taped. And they're taped in brown, so they look like little twigs. And these little budding clovers and grasses are just so pretty. And I'm going to use this as a base for this arrangement. Now, as you can tell, this is too high for the container, so I will need to cut some of the stem off. When you cut the stems, try to cut them at an angle, because that way it'll be easier to put it through the foam. And as you know, I don't like to glue the stems a lot. I want to make sure that they stay in. So about 1 inch, and I'm not going to glue the bottom part because the bottom part is going to go further in. And I'm going to put this in the middle. Finish fluffing. All right. The next thing I want to do is do the tulips. And once again, glue a little bit. And push in. And you know that the flowers really always like to stretch out so they can get as much sun as possible. So when you fluff your flowers, make sure that they're sort of curved so that they look as if they were trying to reach for the sunlight. Great. Okay. I have this budding spray, really nice too, very flexible. So I'll kind of put towards the back. Push it in. All right. And now I use these around my real pond, and I fool all my neighbors because they look so realistic. And they think that I have irises growing in July, which is kind of unusual, right? But these look just like the real thing, and they do really well outside. You may want, if you are going to use them outside, you may want to spray them with a UV protector and sealer. And I know that Minwax has a product available at your local hardware store that actually does the trick very well. Of course, you will get some fading if you leave it there over like a year's period, but it will protect it. So I think I want this iris to be about there. And got the stem off a little bit, glue, and push in. Okay, I think that my second iris needs to be a little bit lower, and so I will have to cut it a little bit higher than my last one. And I always want the flowers to come from the same, or I should say light flowers to come from the same spot, so they don't look like they're just growing here and there, but they have a reason why they're growing. So here's the other iris. And finally, I have a daffodil bud and an open daffodil. And once again, make sure that you bend those leaves and make them look like they are real. And sometimes just pulling that leaf through your thumb and index finger really gives it a nice bend. Okay, so here is the daffodil bud, and now the daffodil is about the same height, so I am going to make it a little bit shorter. Okay, beautiful leaves. So once again, cut this. And stick it in there. Okay. So here we are. I'm going to run a little bit, take a look at it. Fluff it a little bit more. And here we have a beautiful spring arrangement. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, this is Donna with Flowers by Design.